Hey, I'm here with Nev Schulman, and my name is Tome Peticca. Nev Schulman, how are you?
Good to meet you, man.
All right, now, in 2010, you were the subject of the documentary Catfish.
Yes, that's right.
When that documentary came out, did you ever believe that it would turn into the big hit TV show that it is today?
I still can't believe that it turned into the big hit TV show. I didn't even really know what the Sundance Film Festival was at the time.
Oh, really?
I now know it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But when my brother and Henry and the guys we worked with on the film submitted the film and it got in, I thought like, oh, cool. We'll go to, I didn't even know where it was or what it was. I was like, oh, we'll go to a film festival and that'll be fun. I never knew how important that was. I didn't expect that it would be a hit and that it would then be sold and come out in movie theaters. Like, none of what's happened since that experience has made sense to me or has not come as a huge surprise. It's been a wild ride.
Wow. All right, and the actual word catfish, is that something you came up with, or what were the origins of that phrase?
We had an interview in the film towards the end with the husband of the woman who had catfished me. Of course, at the time, it wasn't necessarily called catfish.
Right.
But where he talked about fishermen taking cod in these giant vats in these ships from Alaska to China. And it was a long journey. And over the course of those weeks, the codfish would become sort of bored and obviously understimulated, and as a result their muscle tissue would soften and break down and they'd become less delicious. So somebody had the clever idea of putting some catfish in these tanks to chase the cod, and that in turn kept them moving and agile and delicious. And in life there are people like that too. And he didn't even know the extent or even just how right he was about his wife, because we hadn't told him yet the whole story. But it's true, there are people who keep life interesting and I think push the needle or move the needle and sort of push the envelope and keep things going and keep us on our toes, and so that's why we call it catfish.
Right, that's something I never knew. I was just curious from the show and hearing it said all over the place. 2012, I'm sure you heard about it. Manti Te'o, the linebacker from Notre Dame, he got catfished himself.
He sure did.
How do you think that kind of helped the popularity of your show, if you think at all?
No, yeah, I mean, I think that we were airing the first season of Catfish at that time, and it was doing well. It was doing great, but there was a whole audience that had no idea, obviously, that it was a show, and people who don't watch MTV. And so because sports is such a huge American pastime, the fact that the whole Manti Te'o thing sort of launched us into that arena and introduced the word and the show to millions and millions of sports fans definitely helped with a boost of sort of just publicity and exposure, and got the conversation going at a much higher pitch than I think it would have been otherwise. Right.
Now, you've done tons of shows now. Do you have a personal favorite story from any of the shows that you like telling the most, or you think is funniest or the worst?
Phew. I mean, it's funny. I think my favorites oftentimes become my favorites because they're other people's. So like there's a few episodes that people always come up to me and want to talk about, so I end up spending a lot of time talking about them, and they are great. One, I think, from season 2, which was with Missy and Jasmine, where a girl was catfishing another girl because she had been talking to her boyfriend and she didn't like that she was talking to her boyfriend, and she came out and was very confrontational, and it was very dramatic. But that was an interesting episode. That was probably our most sort of Jerry Springer-esque moment.
Right.
Which,
it's funny because, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
But my friend, I was just talking to her about this interview, and she was just saying how that was one of her favorite episodes.
Right. Well, I get that a lot. And then, of course, last season, there was a moment that, while I'm not necessarily proud of, I think I did something essential, which was when I took a young man's phone and threw it in the Potomac River. Because I felt that what he was doing with his phone was really terrible. He was hurting people and taking advantage of them, and I wanted to somehow get through to him that I was very angry. And everyone says that was like their favorite moment ever. So those are probably two of the crowd favorites, which are also part of my favorites, but I don't know if favorite's a word I ever really feel comfortable
Very cool.
picking.
And one final question.
Yeah.
The people out there that say that the show's a hoax or your story's not real.
Who says that?
How would you respond to those?
Who says that? I mean, I would say come with me for a week. I'll show you how real it is. I mean, people don't want to believe that something that feels really it's easy to say, oh, that can't be real.
Right.
or they're making that up, or it's sensational. And I understand, because a lot of the time with reality TV, it isn't necessarily real, and things are exaggerated or manipulated. And so I get it. And no one wants to look like a fool believing that something's real only to find out later that it's not. And that's fine. And I don't even really think it matters. I think we're telling important stories, and there's a conversation that we're starting that people should be having. And so whatever. If you don't, I mean, it really makes no difference to me. I know it's real. I know that what I'm making is authentic. Take it for whatever you want, but if you're watching it, great. We're on the same page.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.